Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in. It is Monday, March the 15th. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And it is the day after the bracket. Of course, if you have not already seen, you can go and check it out on YouTube or on the podcast. We went through the entire field, bracket, or I guess region by region last night. Talked about all of the interesting matchups, the fun storylines, all that good stuff about the NCAA tournament. Today, there is a lot more stuff to get into, not necessarily about the NCAA tournament, but NFL free agency is rocking and rolling, and we have got firings all over college basketball. We'll talk about some of the big ones. Drew Brees announced he's retiring last night. We're going to get into all of it. Before we get started, though, the website is winningcureseverything.com. Go and check it out. Everywhere that you need to be is right there. All the different spots where you need to be subscribed, everywhere that you can listen, where you can find us, how to reach out, all that kind of stuff. So go to winningcureseverything.com. Our bracket challenge is live. We are going through ESPN. So go ahead and check that thing out. There are links on basically every show that we've put out since last week. So go and check it out. Or if you just go into the ESPN Tournament Challenge, you can search for Winning Cures Everything, and it's going to be right there. There's no password. There's no nothing. Just log in there, sign in, is what it is. Taylor said he put his bracket in, and he said, Chris, I decided to be here instead. So there you go. There
Appreciate
you
that.
go. So the bracket challenge is up. Make sure that you enter in. We're going to have a good time with that. If you don't like trash talk, that's fine. You don't have to pay attention. But I would imagine in the chat, in that thing, we're going to have a lot of fun. And we're going to talk about it whenever we do the shows. So easy enough, easy enough. SBRpicks.com/NCAAF is where you can get all of our college football gambling content. We do a show a week there, and you can find it on YouTube. SBR Picks. Just search it out there. Very simple. And we'll have a new one up on Wednesday. Akbar jumps in. He said, always an entertaining show. He asked what's going on. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the world of football, in the world of basketball, everything else. So, with that said, let's go ahead and dive into this thing. Let's talk about the big NFL news, and that would be Drew Brees announced that he is retiring last night. And it was a fun video. Did you see the video with the kids?
Yeah, I did.
It was cute. So he's got 4 kids, and they were like, our dad is finally retiring after 15 years with the Saints, after 20 years in the National Football League, to spend more time with us. And that's awesome. But then it was announced just a few hours later that Drew Brees is going to work for NBC Sports. He will be on the Notre Dame broadcasts as of right now. I would imagine he will jump in to the NFL coverage whenever they expand their deal, et cetera, et cetera. So, who knows what they're going to do? I'm
Well, I think some of that is let's let him get his legs under him. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see how good he is at this, because we've seen many an NBA player come in, and we assume Drew's going to be great. Okay.
Yeah.
But not everybody who's tried their hand at this has been great. Romo has set the bar pretty damn high. I think Collinsworth is still unbelievable. He's my second choice.
Oh, yes.
And that's a big spot to fill. So,
yeah, there's a lot going on there, obviously. We saw Jason Witten jump into it. He wasn't that good. Obviously he went right back into football. So, who knows what to expect from it. But good for Drew Brees. We saw, the last 2 years, it's just been tailing off. He's not the same quarterback. It's
strange. I'm not one to push somebody into retirement, okay? Listen, I'm a Brady fan, all right? Listen, retire whenever the hell you want. I grew up loving Favre, okay? And people gave him crap. Oh, just quit already. Like, listen, when you love doing something, who am I to tell you to stop doing it? I don't care your skill level or your ability. If somebody's willing to pay you to still do it and you love doing it, Jesus, it's so hard to find purpose in this world that if you have a purpose – then and you're happy doing it, keep doing it. My issue with the Brees thing is like we all kind of knew at the beginning of last season, this is my final season. The way he structured his contract, the deal with NBC, like all of these things were kind of set in stone. He played the season out, and we all worked under this simple premise. And then he puts then it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm retired. I don't know. Like, come on, dude. Like, we know you're retiring. And then today, I think he goes on the Today Show this morning, and he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do now after football. And I'm like, yes, you do. You already have a contract. You already have another job. Why are you doing this, Drew?
I don't understand with all the I didn't
it's extra, right? Like it's what I've got two little girls and they are the definition of just extra. Like, this is what I see from Drew right now. It's like, come on, man. You've never been this your whole career. Let's just, wave goodbye. We love you. We loved watching you play. Your highlights will live on forever. And then get in a booth, call a great game, and let us listen to you for the rest of our lives.
Yes.
That's what I would love for your career if I get to pick it. But let's stop with the whole, you knew it's okay to say goodbye. It's all right.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree.
Am I an asshole for that?
No,
I kind of feel like an asshole for that. And I know that I have that tendency a lot.
There was no questioning. There was no anything about this. It was all laid out. He already had a deal to be an analyst.
He had another job waiting on him.
Yes, he already had that set up, and he had restructured the deal, just like you said, where it made it very easy. Like, we knew that he was going to be retiring. Now, why he waited until this certain point, I did see that yesterday was his 15-year anniversary with the Saints, so it kind of makes sense.
So, if you want to file your paperwork and make your whatever video and stuff like that and push it out for them, I'm okay with that. That doesn't concern me. My annoyance is the last 4 weeks of the season, basically his last game. I'll tell you that, the last game he played against the Bucs, when it looked like we've got about 8 minutes left in this game and they're going to lose. I was very bothered by the people calling the game, not owing the end of that game to him and just saying, this is the last time we're going to see him in uniform, because they acted as if, well, we might see him next year, so we're not going to say our goodbyes yet. No. This is it. Let us say a proper goodbye.
Yes. Especially for a player like that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't understand it. I don't get it. So, all right.
I'm certain I'm not going to get a proper goodbye from Tom. I didn't get one from Favre. All right.
Probably right.
I'm certain that I'm just not going to know when the last time he stripes him up. But another hero, David Ortiz, Poppy, I got a proper goodbye. I knew that was going to be his last season. And I remember so much about that season. As a fan, that season meant a lot to me. I made sure to watch every game I could. I did everything I could to try to go see him in person just one last time, because I know this is one of the last times he's going to swing the stick.
Yeah.
I just think if you're doing it, just give the people that, if you don't know, Brett Favre's deal is he never wanted to hang it up. So
yeah.
It was a thing where I'm going to play until they stop inviting me back. You can't give a proper goodbye for that.
No, absolutely not. A lot of guys jumping in with Joe Thuney. Lots of stuff going on in the chat right now. But yeah, Derek Jeter had that proper goodbye. Mariano Rivera had it as well. A lot of these guys, especially in baseball, do that. Kobe Bryant did it in the NBA. Everybody knew. It's very.
Give them the farewell.
And no, this was a strange year. Fans would not have been able to get in as easily to go and see Drew Brees. But it would have been nice on television for fans to understand the importance of the moment, right?
That's right.
So, but if Brees had not been willing to let them know, hey, yeah, this is probably going to be it, it's kind of hard to, like you said, it's kind of hard to push people into retirement. But I think there was a nice way that they could have done it, and they could have done it better. So, who knows? So with that Drew Brees news, of course, comes Taysom Hill news. And when you see when you just see the figures,
yep,
you immediately freak out, right? That is astronomical numbers. 4 years, $140 million for Taysom Hill.
$35 million a year for Taysom Hill.
However, when you dive into it, it's a restructured deal. All years are voidable, as the deal frees up $7.5 million in cap space this year. His contract includes a $9.68 million signing bonus, a $1.439 million guaranteed roster bonus, and a $1 million guaranteed base salary plus incentives per Schefter. So in layman's terms, Hill and the Saints agreed to a 1-year, $12 million restructured contract with 4 voidable years to spread out $9.6 million signing bonus. That deal, it's an $8.4 million cap hit. That gives the Saints $7.5 million to work with this season. So
that's the best roster in the NFL before free agency started from top to bottom. And like, if they make the playoffs, which I assume they're going to make the playoffs, that dude's going to make $35 million.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a lot of money.
I think that's insane.
I agree. I don't understand. Like, on its face, it looks unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's 4 years, $140 million for Taysom Hill, who was an undrafted free agent in the draft. Like, I don't understand it. But like, they did go 3-1 with him. I want to see what Sean Payton does with him for a full season. Like, because they're sold
I guess
on
that's what everyone's saying is they want to see, a full off season with him being the guy. I just worry, man, at some point, are you going to lose that locker room?
It's possible. I mean, it's very possible. But they've already cut a lot of the veterans anyway. So, who knows? Like, Emmanuel Sanders is gone. Quan Alexander's gone. Like, a lot of the guys that were leaders on the team anyway. Janoris Jenkins, gone. Like, the punter, Thomas Morstead, gone. Like, all these, they have cut a bunch of the leadership roles. Like, they've got a way now to kind of restructure that locker room in the way that they want to. And if Taysom Hill's the leader, then he'll take control. If he's not, obviously these are all voidable years, so they can get out of it if they need to. So I think it works. Like, they are going to do something. The NFL is going to do something with the salary cap going forward. I don't know what it is yet, but the way that teams have been like messing around with this money and tossing it, years in the future and all that, it's something's going to change because it is too easy right now to spread this money out, and I don't know that they are going to allow it to be as easy. And this will have to go through the CBA, right? This will have to go through the CBA.
That's right.
But I don't know. You agree something's going to change, right?
I do think something's going to change because they're all doing it with the assumption that the cap is going to go up. The problem is nobody's able to spread their money out past 4 years.
Right.
And in 5 years, we're going to have the new deal. In 5 years, we'll have the new TV deal. In 5 years, the cap's supposed to go up. They're spreading all this money out in 4. That fourth year, we don't really know what those caps are going to look like, but they're not going to be the $250 million that everybody's hoping for. Not by then. They won't get to that number until the new TV deal's in place. And I just think everybody's playing to win now. And they're just assuming that we can find ways to shed money later.
The money, like the salary cap, I think will be lucky to be back up to what it was last year before this season. Like, I'd still am curious how many fans are going to be willing to go out. What is the appetite for sports going to be?
So you're talking about next year's salary cap?
Yeah.
Next year's salary cap will be substantially higher. I will venture to say that almost every stadium will be full. I will take the over on ever. I lost all the overs last year. I'm going to hit them all this year. I'm doubling down.
And we'll see.
Every stadium. I'm talking New Jersey, New York, California, all of them. A lot of them. They're all going to be open. They're all going to be full of bodies. If they can hold 60,000, they're putting 60,000 in.
Maybe you're right.
This season doesn't start until the weekend after Labor Day.
Yeah.
We got a long way to go from there. I'm telling you, our country's going to be open by the 4th of July. It's probably going to be open by Memorial Day. You're talking 2 months after that.
Yeah. I would imagine you're probably right. But
we've lost too much money, and we're seeing states reopening, and their numbers aren't spiking at all.
No, agreed.
Mississippi reopened 2.5 weeks ago, and our numbers have fallen by 60 to 70% since we reopened and ended the mask mandate.
Agreed.
Something's got to give. Now, Mississippi's also kicking ass at getting the vaccine out there. So, one of the few things that this state has done well. But whatever the contributions are to bringing the numbers down, I'm just telling you, it's really hard for a state that's been locked down super hard to look at the states opening up and saying they're all going to die. No, we're not. And we're doing really well. and you can do this too.
What I'm curious about is the appetite for sports, because every championship went down. I know where you're coming from, but we thought.
Crazy?
Hold on, listen to me. We thought because everybody was going to be stuck at home that everybody would be tuning in to see some of these monster matchups for championships for whatever, and every number dropped. Every number. So how much of that can they get back?
I can't predict why that happened. I can't explain why that happened. I'm telling you this. Concert tickets are going to be higher than they've ever been in their lives, capacity-wise. Sports, people leaving their house to go to live events is going to set records this year, next year. They're like going to set
20s.
records.
It'll be the roaring 20s.
I will tell you this, that I have been saving money by not being able to go on all these damn trips that I tried to go on last year. And I'm not saving it and investing it. I'm not putting it into my house or buying Bitcoin or any stock. No. I'm setting that shit on fire as soon as I can get out of this place. It ain't going to no kids' college fund or retirement. I'll work until the day that I die. I don't take care of myself very well. Why save for 80 when I'm probably not going to see it? Let's live today. Because I'm on the first thing smoking out of here with tickets to anything I can get.
Taylor said Chris is spitting facts right now. Terry jumped in. He said, what's up? By the way, anybody that wants to jump in, go ahead and jump in on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Facebook. You can jump into the chat, of course.
Terry had to switch up the lingo for the YouTube. I like it. Yes, getting creative.
Taylor said, I've been drinking my extra cash. Yeah, I can understand.
No, not me. I'm saving it. Just stockpiling it, man.
Ready to go on some trips.
It all, and I am going to we go cash in and blow it all.
Disney, beaches, going to Pigeon Forge or whatever.
Football games, baseball games, basketball. Anything, all of it.
Matthew said Chris would have been a millionaire if he invested in Bitcoin. Yeah, I
probably would have been, but it's okay. I got a job. That's all right. I missed out.
Yep, it's all good. That's it. We are making it work one way or another. Let's see. Taylor said Chris has a Joker style pile of cash. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna set it on fire.
Let's
the economies around where I go are gonna be booming when I leave there.
Chris comes in and he saves entire regions. I'm in. All right. Moving into college basketball. Indiana has fired Archie Miller. I was a little bit shocked. I will go ahead and say this. When Archie Miller left his meeting with them on Sunday with the powers that be, he reportedly felt really good about things, about coming back for another year, trying to get this thing turned around, all that kind of stuff. Oh my God, Matt Miller said, Chris, if you're wrong about the stadiums, you got to do a show in a thong. I don't know that anybody wants to do that.
I'm not doing that. Well, y'all don't see me anyway. I mean, listen.
Damian said Bears are wasting it on players that ain't Allen Robinson. We'll talk about free agency in a little bit. The Bears have lost some dudes. But either way, Archie Miller, of course, felt good. He thought he was going to get another year, and then Indiana pulled the rug out from under him this morning. And what that says to me, if he had a good, productive meeting where he felt like he was coming back for another year, and then the next day they fire him and they go ahead and pay him his $10 million buyout and all that, says to me that they have got somebody lined up. They've got a 1, 2, 3 option, and somebody, a big fish, is going to take that job.
Now, I will tell you, this is how I would athletic director all the time. You know that, right? Yeah. We've had these conversations. I'm going to have feelers out there. You can say it's tampering. You can say it doesn't matter. Okay. All right. You get to your burner phone. You have a conversation. You say, are you interested? How much do you need? If I can come up with that money, you're coming. Okay. All right. Guy got out of here. Already got the deal done. I got to wait 2 weeks. I mean, it used to be, the NBA has like that no tampering, like dead area. And then like the minute free agency starts, like 9 players all sign like that second. Like, wait a minute. How did we know all these contracts? Everything? Listen, this is just how deals work, man. I'd be doing the same thing as an athletic director. You got to know you got the guy. Now, if they don't land a big fish and we're just wrong here,
that's a problem.
There might be a problem, but there might not. We obviously believe that Archie's not the guy anyway, right?
I think at this point, yeah.
So moving on from him, it's not the end of the world if you don't land your biggest fish. What it would tell me if they don't land the guy they want, whoever that is, with that some big booster showed up and said, look, I know you promised him another year. I ain't giving if he's the guy. We got to move on. And then you got to move on.
I will tell you this. I was surprised that they fired him, but I probably shouldn't be. And the reason behind that is they fired Tom Crean. Like, sometimes you just get tired of a guy, right? Like, and it's only been, 4 or 5 years. I can't even remember which at this point. But it hadn't been long, and he went from 6th place to 10th place to 8th to 9th, I think is what he did in the Big Ten. I think it's been 4 years.
He's fallen every year he's been there.
It's not been very good.
I know the Big Ten is tough, but
it's always going to be tough, though.
He's obviously, yes, right. It's not getting any damn easier. He's obviously not the guy. He's got a cap on him as to what he's capable of doing, and going back down a level. Because I'm going to tell you this, if I was one of these smaller schools where he came from, I'd whip his ass up in a second.
Oh, absolutely.
In a second.
What he did
just because he can't compete at the Big Ten doesn't mean he won't take your smaller school and make the tournament every other year.
Yeah, I think he will be a fantastic hire for one of these small colleges. Yeah. So just because he couldn't get it done in Indiana doesn't mean he can't get it done somewhere else. Richard Pitino was fired by Minnesota, and that one's been coming for a while.
They've super disappointed.
They were so good early on, especially at home, but they did not win a single road game. They were putrid towards the end of the season. They went 6-14 in the Big Ten this year. Just not very good at all. And it's been years. Like, if he was going to turn that thing around, he would have done it already. Big name, obviously. I don't know what he's going to do next, but who knows? I don't even know what to make of him. So it kind of leads to this question, right? And there's been other ones. DePaul fired their coach, and Penn State ended up hiring a Purdue assistant that actually worked with Brad. What's the guy's name? Brad Stevens in Boston. Like, this guy was Jason Tatum's guy, so that's a good selling point and all that kind of stuff. So there's lots going on there, but and Boston College got their guy. Like, it, is what it is. No big names as of right now. Actually, Jeff Goodman tweeted out, and I'll pull it up. He kind of gave a rundown of what all has happened this morning, and it is freaking nanas as far as, the Black Monday in college basketball. Like, we always have this every year. Let's see. Indiana will not consider former Hoosier star Steve Alford as a serious candidate. Well, that's because if they were going to fire Archie Miller, they've already got somebody. So that's the way it goes. All right, here we go. Penn State hires Micah Shrewsbury. Indiana fires Archie Miller. Minnesota parts ways with Richard Pitino. New Mexico is down to Richard Pitino and Tim Miles, who is the former Nebraska coach. Boston College hires Charleston's Earl Grant. Kansas's Jalen Wilson is out for their first game. And DePaul fires Dave Letteo. So, as far as DePaul goes, Cleveland State head coach Dennis Gates and Loyola Chicago's Porter Moser probably in the mix. Obviously, Loyola Chicago in the same city with DePaul. Porter Moser already knows that area. That could be good. So either way, but Indiana was awful. It leads us to this question, and Chris loved the idea of getting into this. Who is the best basketball coach or best college basketball coach of our generation? And
this came off of Dan Wetzel bringing this up, and he stated a name, and I think I agree with his name. I've literally spent the entire day going through all the great coaches of our generation, and I think I can't move off of him.
And that would be
Rick Pitino.
Yeah, I think that I agree with that.
Rick Pitino's the coach that it doesn't matter. He'll beat you with his guys. If you give him 2 weeks to work with your guys, he'll beat you with those guys too. It's not. People are going to say Coach K. Coach K is the name that's up there.
Forget
Coach K's never been able to do it without talent. Never.
That's not necessarily true. He back when he first started winning, that's how he built the program, was seniors and whatnot. And he got really, really good when he had talent. And it was the same with Rick Pitino. Like, he can make Final Fours so long as he has talent. But he can take teams that are nobodies and win with them. As far as X's and O's go, Rick Pitino absolutely is up there. Going to toss out a few more names for you. Lon Kruger, I think, is fantastic. He's taken 6 different schools to the to the NCAA tournament, and 4 of them to the Final Four, 3 or 4. Yeah. So Kruger's awesome. I'll give you that. Kelvin Sampson has been awesome everywhere that he has been.
So this is, I think the find the mark here, and the reason K doesn't get that is because K built one place into a juggernaut and then never left that juggernaut. These other guys have done it at multiple places.
Yes. So I think
they have shown that they can take lower level teams. They can take great teams. They can kind of go anywhere and everywhere, and everything they touch turns to gold.
Now, here's another one I'm going to throw you, and it's a bit of a curveball. He wasn't in college for too long. Brad Stevens?
No, Brad Stevens is up there, but Brad Stevens is an NBA coach. And Brad Stevens is, I will tell you this, you can argue the Celtics aren't having a great season, and there's a lot of Celtics fans that are morons, and they want him gone because whatever. But Brad Stevens is the best coach in the NBA. And it's not close, by the way. Popovich, he is soared past Popovich. And the talent that he has compared to what Pop's ever had, compared to what Steve Kerr has, compared to what all these other guys have, that he doesn't have a star. He's never had a true star. And he's made it to the playoffs. He's made it to the conference finals multiple times. Every year he's in the running, and he does it without the best players in the game.
As far as NBA goes, I will point to Rick Carlisle as a fantastic.
I love Rick Carlisle. I still think Brad's better than him, just because
right.
he hadn't been there as long as Carlisle, but he's kind of a lot like Carlisle outside of Dirk,
you're right.
He never really had a bunch of stars, and he's always won a ton.
No, you're 100% right about that. Jumping into the comments here, Rick LeBlanc jumped in. He said Chris is going to wear his thong when he goes to Boston, or he wears his thong when he goes to Boston. Casey, talking about the Chiefs already patching the O-line.
I like how Casey's already claimed the Chiefs as his team when the last couple of years Casey's joined in with us. I didn't know he was a Chiefs fan.
Taylor said if Chris does a show in a thong, UNLV's quarterback might get hungry for sushi. Michael Fritz jumps in. He said, what's up? Casey jumped in again. That Indiana team just sucked. Taylor said Coach K, and it hurts to say. But we've already discussed that. Casey said Loyola could definitely go on another run. They win their first game, faux show, straight setup. Their first game's against Georgia Tech. Look, Josh Pastner has one of the most experienced teams in the field. You got a bunch of seniors playing this year. I like that.
Loyola's got a rough go to get by Pastner and a bunch of Tech, and then they got to play Illinois. Whew.
That's rough. That's rough.
If they make it to Sweet 16, they've accomplished something that I would never bet on ever.
Taylor said, if Iona beats Bama, then I will 100% agree as far as Pitino goes. Casey said Kyrie Irving's the best coach in the NBA.
God.
Michael Fritz said his vote would be on Coach K, but it's close. We can always talk about Bill Self and Roy Williams and Calipari.
Roy Williams is the other one. Roy Williams he did it at Kansas. He's done it at North Carolina. Both those places are basketball staples, or basketball kind of meccas. You remember Louisville was not a basketball mecca when Pitino took that over. We got to remember that, okay?
Yeah. No, you're right. You are.
He's a slime ball, and he's a scuzzy dude, but that guy, he just out coaches the shit out of everybody.
I'll tell you this: if Indiana wants to win, I understand all the.
I'd hire him. I'd hire him tomorrow. I'd hire him.
I would take Rick Pitino.
If I was Ole Miss, I'd have never fired Hugh Freeze. I'm not afraid of my college coach playing in the mud. You know why? Because every other damn college coach is doing it too. They just put on a nice, pretty facade.
All of the NCAA stuff that has come out about Rick Pitino, none of it is really a fireable thing. Like at Louisville, it just became too much that happened.
It's just toxic. It's just toxic. Yeah, it's a decade of misdemeanors, and so you just have to fire. You can't arrest a guy for that, but it's like somebody who jaywalked 400,000 times. It's just like, all right, at some point in time, we just got to stop the shit. Like you just don't care anymore. You're not afraid of this ticket. And
it's a bad look. So
yeah, it's
obviously,
bad.
The AD was fired. But
I'm with you, man. If I was Indiana, I'd stroke that check tomorrow. I'd give it to him over the Baylor coach. I'd give it to him over UCLA. He would be my number one choice.
Yeah,
I'll tell you this. I've said this before to close friends. If Penny don't work out in Memphis and he doesn't end up at a big boy job, listen. If you want to get under Coach Cal's skin, you go get Ricky.
Oh, 100%.
You go get Ricky because people in Memphis still feel like Memphis has a second child syndrome. All right. We've always been the second city to Nashville. We're the bastard child to Nashville, and people have this little dick syndrome but them. And then Memphis basketball has that little dick second child syndrome to Kentucky. And it's just because Cal left for that job. If you want to fight that fight, you go get Slick Rick.
Oh, yes. Yes, I agree. Now, what would make it actually a little bit easier, the AD and the president both that got into the whole feud about Tubby Smith over Penny Hardaway, all that kind of mess.
Yep.
Tom is now the new AD over at Arkansas State. You got a new AD.
Yep.
Let's see, Laird Veach, I believe, former assistant AD at Florida. He obviously wants to win. And the president of the University of Memphis is apparently stepping down, and that's happening next year. So
I don't think they're firing Penny
after
this year. No, but I'm just saying if he stays, ostracized,
or if he decides, like, you know what, maybe I don't feel like coaching anymore. Like I've got enough money, I got enough whatever. This ain't working out. I'm just gonna go play golf. I mean, that's what Penny does.
Penny, yeah.
Like if Penny decides that he wants to leave. Like, I would call Rick Pitino in a heartbeat.
I'd call him in a second. I say, don't sign that Indiana paper.
Anybody that wants to
I know it's a better job than this, but don't sign that Indiana paper.
Anybody that any program that just wants to win and isn't worried about the optics of it,
yeah,
that's your guy.
So I think Indiana's going to struggle with optics because this is the school of
I mean, they're a Big Ten
Bobby Knight, and it's doing it the right way. But he came with baggage, but he came with basically that old man tough guy baggage, not this kind of baggage, not scandals baggage.
Yeah,
and I wonder how big of a fit he would be. But I guess with Pitino, I really don't care what about the fit. I think that guy's gonna win everywhere he goes.
Yeah,
you
agree.
Put him in a city like Memphis where he doesn't even really have to recruit. He can just go get the local talent. And I mean, the Italian community here would pony up the money in a second.
Yes, I do agree with that. Michael Fritz jumped in. He said Frank Martin might be one of my favorite coaches. Might be one of the greatest to watch.
I do love Frank Martin.
Yes. Now he has not been great at South Carolina. He did take them to the Final Four.
That's a tough job, though, man.
Yes, it is.
You can't win year in and year out at South Carolina. You just can't do it.
If Jim Larrañaga ends up leaving Miami. Because remember, Larrañaga's like in his late 70s. If he ends up leaving Miami pretty soon, that would be a perfect landing spot for Frank Martin. I mean, I don't
want to see it, but he'll be more successful in Miami than he is at South Carolina.
Yeah, but as far as him being a Cuban American and whatnot, like he just seems to fit down there better, I think. So,
he could get better players there consistently.
Oh yes, absolutely.
That's the biggest thing is I think he reached his ceiling and he knows that that's a once every 6-7 years run at South Carolina.
Oh, shout out Sindarius Thornwell for taking him. I mean, I got him all the way to the Final Four. That was a hell of a season. Hell of a
great season. Love Frank Martin.
Speaking of brackets and whatnot, let's move on to this one, and that is the NIT field was announced last night, and I'm going to pull up the bracket. The first thing that I want to mention to you is at the bottom of the NIT bracket. Now, they are doing all of these games in Frisco, Texas. The first games are on March 18th and 19th, or sorry, March 17th, March 18th, and March 19th. And then they've got, 2 games on March 20th, and then they have an entire week off before they do the Final Four. There's only 16 teams in the bracket. By the way,
right.
Belmont, who only lost 3 games all season, won like 25 games.
Got left out.
Didn't even get an invitation. How does that happen?
I don't know.
I don't understand.
I don't know. I mean, there's an argument that Belmont should have been in this tournament over, 4 or 5 other schools.
I mean, Mississippi State was 15-14. What are we doing?
Well, I'm talking about the NCAA tournament, not the NIT.
Well, agreed. Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, no, they definitely should have been over state.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, at the bottom of the bracket, which, it is what it is, they say the NIT opposes all forms of sports wagering. You will never see that on an NCAA tournament bracket. That is absolutely insane to me.
What are you putting that out there for? Why? What is, to what end?
Like, brothers, it is legalized now. What are we doing?
To what do you like? So you're opposed to gambling, and so you're trying to force others to not do it. You just want to make that statement that you're opposed to it, and you look down on those who do it.
I guess. I don't know. I
just want to know to what end. That's all. I think that's a fair question. You tell the general public that. You know, the majority of sports fans have some type of gamble on a game, whether it's just filling out a bracket with friends and, you know, winner gets a free dinner or something. Like, we all want something kind of riding on it, even if it's friendly, if it's just a gentleman's bet. Why are you so opposed to it? Why do you feel the need to make that statement?
If your team is not involved in the game, having a little action on it makes it much more. It makes you more emotionally invested in the game. So as far as gambling on the games, the NCAA should 100% embrace this. The NIT should embrace this. Like, it's
Who
ridiculous.
the hell is the NIT anyway?
It's NIT LLC.
Well, okay, that didn't answer my question.
I don't have a good answer for you. I have no idea.
Who are these people? I need names, and I need to know what is their creed? What is how are they founded, and what is the basis of you picking this fight?
I wish I knew. I don't know. But when I pulled up that bracket and saw it, I thought,
when the governor of Nebraska just openly, randomly comes out and starts talking about how Nebraska will never legalize marijuana because marijuana kills kids, and Mississippi, the most conservative state in the union, is laughing at him like, come on, dude. Really? We're still doing that? We're still trying to get, to what end? At what point is there just so much data saying you're wrong?
Yes.
That you just can't get behind.
You got me. I just
think this is strange.
So
they put that on the bottom of every bracket, or is this year unique because gambling has just been so out front and all the other sports have kind of embraced it?
This is the bracket that is at ncaa.com. Like, this is the official bracket that was put out by the NIT. So I don't know that it's on every one of them. Taylor said the national invitation.
Has it been in the past on all of them? We just never paid attention.
No, I've never seen it. Like, I looked back at last year's, and it wasn't on last year's.
Okay.
So I don't know what that's about. But either way, the one seeds here: Colorado State, Memphis, Ole Miss, and St. Louis. Louisville is not one of these teams, even though they were the first team out of the NCAA tournament. I don't know if that means that Louisville is either NCAA or bust, which I can fully believe because
no, I think Louisville was invited. Louisville turned it down because they assume we're going to get in this thing. Somebody's going to have a COVID problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. Ole Miss should probably have turned it down as well for the same reason. To think
Ole Miss is like fourth out, though.
I thought they were second out.
No, Colorado State.
I thought it was Louisville, then Ole Miss.
No, it was Louisville, Colorado State. Hold on, I've got the
because Belmont's not on the list, right?
Right, Louisville, Colorado State, St. Louis, Ole Miss, in that order.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, so, never mind then. No, if they're that far out, then no.
Yeah.
But if I was the top two, you're talking about 2 out of 64 teams won't make this thing. Will have a COVID problem. That wouldn't surprise me.
Taylor said Louisville declined NIT bid, hoping to alternate their way into the NCAA. Casey said Louisville's going to replace Virginia, and then insane. Casey said that Ole Miss should win the NIT.
I find it strange that just because last week Virginia had a COVID problem, everyone walks under the assumption that this week they're going to have one too.
I will tell you this: if Louisville, the
NIT, Kansas, are just all of a sudden everybody's just writing them off because they had COVID last week.
Well, hold on.
All right, 14 days later they're going to play a basketball game. I think they're going to be okay.
Hold on. The NIT is, I think, underneath Louisville. They have had issues with COVID. Like, they've had 2 different COVID stoppages and whatnot. Their players have actually gotten it, all that kind of mess. I could understand not wanting to play in the NIT. Like, this has been a hard year for them.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Virginia and Kansas.
I know.
Everybody is assuming that because they had one COVID test last week, that we're just going to have them all. Every bracket I've seen has them bounced out by the first weekend, both of them, because they're going to have COVID problems.
Agreed. And even with their COVID issues, the guys that were supposedly out, I do think that they are better than the teams that they are playing. Now, Ohio, for Virginia, that's a tough matchup anyway. But who knows? Taylor said I had Kansas losing in the first round because of COVID and then came back to earth. Yeah, just come on back.
I just think that's an asinine argument. If you think the team is better than them, that's fine. I assure you somebody's going to have a COVID problem. I would take the field over the two teams that had COVID last week.
Yeah.
That's just me. I might be wrong.
I tend to agree with you. I mean, what I was saying about Louisville, though, is just assuming that you're going to get into the NCAA, I don't think that was it. I think for Louisville, it was if we don't play in the NCAA tournament, we just don't want to play. We're done.
That's probably
We're
right.
exhausted.
I'm okay with that. I'm going to tell you this. If I was the NIT, I would have invited Duke and Kentucky.
Kentucky wasn't eligible. Like I think with the NIT, you have to have a at least an above 500 record.
You have to?
Yeah.
I figured it was an individual invitational. So
it is.
It's an invitational then.
But they have specific rules and guidelines into allowing teams in. So.
I would invite anybody that's going to get a big draw into all the small schools out there. I'm sorry. I mean, it makes sense. Listen, we don't support gambling. We've got to make revenue somehow. So we got to get people to watch this shit.
Are there any of these games that look interesting to you at all? Let me read them off to you. There's only 8 games. Like it's 16 teams.
I'd say there's no 16 teams.
Colorado State against Buffalo. Davidson against NC State. Boise State and SMU. Memphis. I don't really care. Memphis and Dayton sounds cool. Like Anthony Grant against Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, I was about to say, and Dayton's still pretty good. I mean, they're not what they were last year.
They're 14-9 this year. Like they're okay. Yeah. Ole Miss and Louisiana Tech.
I care about that one, but I don't know that it's going to be anything.
St. Mary's and Western Kentucky. Good old Slick Rick Stansbury.
Yeah, I was about to say I kind of would care more about that game than
Charles Bassey is an NBA guy. Like who starts for Western Kentucky, so that could be interesting. I don't know that a lot. So
it's a star to watch. It's the reason I would watch Ole Miss. Like, give me a star to watch, and I'll find the game.
Richmond and Toledo.
Yeah.
And St. Louis against Mississippi State.
I'll watch that one just strictly for the SEC.
Our buddy Cecil Hurt, he came out and said, "Wait, you got St. Louis, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Memphis all in this thing?" He said, "Y'all need to play this at the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid. Like, what's wrong with y'all? Do it right." Yeah. So NIT starts on March 18th. It is what it is. As far as Virginia,
where is it being held at?
This is in Frisco, Texas. Let's say at the Comerica Center. Well, it's in Frisco and Denton. They're doing a couple of games at North Texas.
It's in Texas, which is where I'm gonna tell you. Yeah, I'd go to Mississippi, Texas, Florida, somewhere like that.
Same place that the AAC tournament was.
Well, just the place that's where I just want to go where it's open.
Oh, yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. As far as Virginia is concerned and Kansas, as far as anybody getting left out of the NCAA tournament, we've got until Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Yep. And if nobody has dropped out by then
they're in.
Then everybody's in, and it'll just be a forfeit after that. So, So it is what it is. So Louisville has got basically 26 hours from now or 25 hours from now. And who knows? Who knows? Moving on, let's finish up the show talking about NFL. And, boy, your Pats have made some noise today. Let me read off what we got so far. We'll start with this. Before we get to the Pats, the Bucs re-signed Shaq Barrett, 4 years, $72 million.
He was the big-ticket item. I think he was the best free agent out of all the free agents in the whole class.
I think you're right.
Let's say that.
I think you're right. With the way that he played last year, his performance in the playoffs, I mean, he definitely made his money. Let's see. Taylor said, if y'all ever ridden a team just because they have a cool logo, that's me with Winthrop. Yeah, I could buy that.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm sure. Listen, go listen to our SBR
FCS stuff.
FCS content, okay? Yeah, that's the only reason I back any of those teams.
The mascots in the FCS are fantastic. This week we got the Richmond Spiders against the James Madison
They actually
Dukes.
have cool mascots instead of everybody's got a damn tiger.
Okay? A tiger or a wildcat.
That's my guys. I get it. It's my team. But, like, at some point in time, can we get a little creative?
It'd be nice. There's a lot of Bulldogs, too. So
yeah. Oh, no. That's what I'm saying. Just a bunch of animals. There's so many animals in the world. Let's just be something cool.
I would be game with that. All right, so moving on. The Pats signed Tennessee Titans tight end Jonnu Smith, 4 years, $50 million. Go ahead.
This was the apple of my eye for this signing right here. They needed a big boy tight end. It was either him or Henry. This is the guy I wanted, even over Henry. I think he's a better overall tight end. He stays healthier, plays more games. And when he is on, I think he's one of those unguardable tight ends.
Yes.
Now, in a perfect world, I was telling a buddy of mine this last night, I wanted him and Henry, and let's see, could Bill and Josh really put the offense together that they wanted with two elite tight ends, which was the purpose of Gronk and Hernandez back in the day before Hernandez started popping folks.
Yep. I'm with you. Then they go defense, right? And now we'll talk wide receiver in a minute, but defense, they absolutely loaded up. Nose tackle, Davon Godcheaux. Miami nose tackle, 2 years, $16 million for him. Defensive back Jalen Mills was, 4 years, $24 million, I want to say?
I didn't see the numbers on Mills, but that was right before we started that he had signed.
Yep. So he's obviously former Eagles defensive back. And then Ravens linebacker Matthew Judon, 4 years, $56 million. The Pats
love him.
The Pats absolutely loaded up on the defensive side of the ball.
They are in negotiations, probably bringing back Kyle Van Noy. That'll be a cheap contract. He got released from the Dolphins as well. Probably bringing him back. And all reports are they will close the day with the wide receiver. Most Pats fans are saying Curtis Samuel is the guy. I would like Kenny Golladay. I know Kenny Golladay has not been healthy as Samuel, but I think he's got the highest ceiling. And so if you're injured, I'm not super always worried about that because I don't know that you stay injured all the time. Sometimes guys do, and that's just bad luck. But give me a guy that's got a ceiling like nobody's business.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Casey jumped in. He said, "Chris, is Joe Thuney worth $80 million?"
I don't think so.
Can he play offensive tackle or center, or is he strictly a guard?
That's the problem is that they need center and two tackles, and they hired a guard.
Yeah.
I'm sure he can play one of those positions. If you play for Bill Belichick, you probably can play all five positions on the line. Okay. That's kind of the rule of playing for Bill is your flexibility, your ability to play multiple positions. Is he going to be fine? Yes.
We got news on your Patriots.
Okay.
Jeremy Fowler just reported 9 minutes ago the Pats are working on a potential deal for wide receiver Kendrick Bourne. He's got multiple offers, still talking with teams, but New England is working to get that done.
Okay.
Kendrick Bourne's all right, I guess.
All right. That's literally the first comment under a Pat's blog that I follow. The first comment under there says, "That's not how you spell Curtis Samuel." I think this is the problem with getting your hopes up for certain guys is when it goes another guy that you're not looking at or targeting or wanting as a fan, there's a level of disappointment. So
that is pretty funny. And
I'll tell you this, they're going to need to find another pass catcher other than Kendrick Bourne. Whoever the wide receiver they bring in is going to be the best wide receiver on the field. Okay. So if this guy's never been a true number one, guess what? Life's about to get real hard for you. Because everybody else on this team ain't a number one either.
Kendrick Bourne has 11 touchdowns in the last 3 seasons. He only had 2 last year, 49 receptions last year on 74 targets, 660.
If that's a deal, yards. I guarantee you that's a cheap deal.
That's got to be a cheap deal.
That's going to be a low budget deal, which means he won't be the only receiver unless they're looking to target receiver in the draft.
That is. Now, I could 100% see that.
Because at 15, there's going to be a shitload of receivers coming to you where you can get your pick of the litter.
I do believe that. Taylor jumped in. Chris said a bearcat's a mythical creature, but it's real. Look up a binturong.
It's not a bearcat. And anybody who spells bearcat with a K ought to be thrown out a damn window.
Did you see?
And I'm not talking about like throwing out the first story window where you land in some bushes. All right.
Did you see?
No, I'm talking about the highest window in the house.
Did you see how bad Sam Houston State beat Nichols over the weekend? 71-17. Nichols.
Some of this FCS football is unwatchable, but I want to say comical. But sometimes, man, this is not.
The chaos is crazy.
At some point, it stops being comical.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Sam Houston State is a all-time powerhouse in FCS, and they have not been good for like the last decade.
I was just about to say they haven't been real good lately.
But they look like they might be this year. So who knows?
Sure.
Who knows? The Joe Thuney deal is 5 years, $80 million, includes $32.5 million fully guaranteed at signing over the first 2 years. There's an injury guarantee that converts to full in 2022. That brings the practical guarantee at signing to a whopping $48 million. That's per Tom Pelissero. So I mean, that's a lot of money.
He's better than right now. You have nobody sitting in one of those holes. So if you put him at right tackle, he's better than nobody that's there right now. So
yeah, I'm a little shocked. That the Kendrick Bourne thing cracks me up, man. Everybody's been hearing all this stuff about Patriots looking at a wide receiver. So it's Kenny Golladay, it's Curtis Samuel, and then it's like, nope, Kendrick Bourne. Let's go.
God. Where did Kendrick Bourne play college football? Hang on.
Hey, that's a good question. That I don't have an answer for off the top of my. Let's see. Kendrick Bourne. Let's see. Kendrick Bourne played at Eastern Washington.
Oh.
Which makes sense. I mean, they were like an incredible.
Oh, come on. Kendrick. This is him and
what?
This is Bill's infatuation with Kyle Shanahan.
Oh, you think so? Oh, yeah, because he was a 49er and all that.
This is Bill's infatuation with Shanahan. I'm gonna tell you this: if Shanahan never became a head coach and Josh didn't come home after his stint with the Broncos, Kyle would have ended up the coach and waiting in New England. I mean, his infatuation with Shanahan, there's a reason he traded Garoppolo there. That relationship with him and the Shanahans is strong. It's real strong. And this is one of those where if Kyle loves him, he's got to be good. That's what that is.
Okay. I could see that making sense.
There's a reason that everybody in the world thought Deebo Samuels would make the perfect Patriot, and Kyle swoops in and takes him. Okay. Yeah. Because both of these guys see the field the exact same way. One guy's just a defensive expert and the other guy's an offensive expert. And also one guy's probably 5 years older than the other guy's dad. So
yeah, that is 100% true. We have not talked at all about the Packers bringing back Aaron Jones, 4 years, $48 million.
Thought that was just grossly overpaid.
$13 million signing bonus. It's worth up to $48 million. So there's a lot of incentives. But.
You're right. Okay. Now, if it's incentive laden, then I'm with you. I'm willing to give anybody any leeway for contracts that are all full of incentives. Because if you earn those incentives, you're good. But paying running, my opinion on paying running backs, man.
Yeah.
One day, I'm going to say this about Nick Chubb, and all of my Browns fans are going to hate me, and the Browns are going to pay him a gross, disgusting amount of money, and then 2 years later, we're going to say, why the hell we do that?
I agree. Well, check this out. Look, multiple league executives say that Aaron Jones and Seattle's Chris Carson might be the only two backs with a clear path to a deal above $5 million per year.
Hey, GMs are getting smarter.
Well, yeah.
Oh, imagine that. Because look at the guys that we all paid $20 million to. Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody go look at Todd Gurley and tell me what you want about him. All right. Tell me how that suits your fancy.
Casey jumped in. He said, I knew they were going to bring him back. He's a top running back in the league. They wouldn't have been a contender without Aaron Jones. And I do agree with that. That'd be like
that's
the Titans.
Probably
without,
right. He did have all the leverage in that situation. That's 100% right.
Yeah. Titans without Derrick Henry. That's the Packers without Aaron Jones. Like that's
oh no, that's not true. That's just not true. The Titans without Derrick Henry are putrid. Like they're the Jaguars from last year. If the Packers lose Aaron Jones, they're still in like contention for that division because of Aaron Rodgers.
Agreed.
And Adams.
Yeah, I can get with that. Well, especially
that's the difference.
They got AJ Dillon behind him.
Let's not confuse Tannehill with Rodgers. All right,
I will never do that. I promise. Yeah. I promise that. All right, Carlos jumped in. Running backs are so easy to replace nowadays. Aaron Jones' contract is too much. Well, because it's incentive laden, maybe it's not.
Because it's incentive laden, I'm okay. I'm giving it a pass. I'm just telling you, anybody who gets close to $15 million a year to a running back, you're just falling in love with somebody, and you need to stop. This is not a situation to be in love.
It's like the Panthers.
Yeah,
it's just too much money. Like I understand that sometimes they can be effective out of the backfield.
Call me when a $20 million running back works out. Just as soon as that happens, call me. And I want 2 years of it. I don't want 1 year flash in the pan, okay? I need back-to-back seasons of it being worth the money.
Taylor wanted to let you know that Bearcat with a K is made up, but Bearcats with a C, those are real.
They're not. They're not.
Damian said, whoa, wait a minute. Not all GMs are smart. Ryan Pace is still an idiot.
No, Ryan Pace is 100% an idiot. No, did I say all GMs are smart? Did somebody else say they were smart? Because I've never said that.
You said GMs are getting smarter.
Oh, they're getting smarter by not paid. Okay, I did say that. Yes, because they've learned from other GMs' mistakes. You just can't pay a running back $20 million. Ryan Pace has done a lot of dumb things. He hasn't paid a running back $20 million. That doesn't mean he's good, though. That doesn't mean he's smart. That just means that's like saying, don't put your dick in a mousetrap. Just because you didn't do it doesn't mean you're intelligent. But if you do it, you're definitely not smart.
Michael Fritz jumped in. He said, how is Dallas liking the Zeke deal right now?
That's what I'm saying. I completely agree. I think that's a gross overpayment. And look at Zeke's numbers from last year. Tell me you think that was worth it.
I agree with you.
Every one of these running backs that's gotten these $20 million deals is you're just pissing money away.
Yes.
Just pissing it away.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. All right, let's go ahead and close out of this thing. Is there anything breaking that you know of?
I'm grossly hoping to find a better wide receiver situation, but
UConn's Gino Auriemma tests positive for COVID-19, so we're not quite sure what that means as far as UConn having their coach in the women's NCAA tournament. So that's kind of a big deal. But who knows? I think UConn's still probably better than everybody.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it would be interesting to see them without him for an entire tournament, not like a game.
Yeah. I'm looking through the notes. The bracket's it's supposed to be unveiled on Monday night at 6 p.m. Auriemma is not experiencing any symptoms. He's isolating at home. He tested positive Sunday afternoon. He did not have close contact with any other team members since Friday, March 12th. And, everything seems fine. He's going to be away from the team for the next several days. And they're not sure yet. They're not sure what's going to go on. So, I'm sure we'll figure that out before Wednesday's show. So, we'll get there. We will figure it all out. All right, let's close out of this thing. Casey he has put this in here like 3 times. Iowa over Houston in the championship, book it. Hey, look, if that happens, I will absolutely give you accolades. But I'm going to talk so much shit, Casey, if that's not the championship matchup. Just to let you know. We gonna go ahead and let you know on the front end. Damian said Trubisky to the Patriots. That's not happening.
No.
Y'all are nuts. All right, let's jump out of here. WinningCuresEverything.com is the website. Go and check it out. Everywhere that you need to be subscribed, you can find right there any of the podcast apps, the video, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Periscope, whatever. Make sure that you like all of it. You will find all sorts of content on every one of them. So go and check that out. SBRpicks.com/NCAAF. That is our college football gambling content. You can find our show, weekly college football show, over there. Search out SBR Picks on YouTube. That is the easiest way to watch it. And our WCE bracket challenge is up. You can go and fill out your own bracket. Jump in with us. We're going to talk a lot of mad trash on here for the next couple of weeks, and it's going to be a good time. So it's free to enter. It's on ESPN's Tournament Challenge. You can search out Winning Cures Everything there, or there's a link in the description. Just go and check it out. It's free. Like I said, check it out. So, Chris, is there anything else we need to hit?
No. I'd like to say one thing.
Go ahead.
Many of the people that we're buds with, that we follow on Twitter, that we do SBR stuff and other stuff with, are taking their shots at the Patriots and how Bill Belichick spending all this money for top tier players. That's not how you build championships, and just being super critical about how this is them being desperate. And this is like how the master has fallen or whatever. Listen, he never spent money. Everybody criticized him. Now he does spend the money that they have, by the way, and everyone criticizes him. Like, shut up. Okay.
There's no way to win for that, by the way.
I know that.
There's no way to win. Like, when you win that many titles, everybody's coming for you.
That's right.
So it's easy to be critical. It's not so easy.
Like, what are they supposed to do? They got $90 million in cap, or $66 million in cap space this year. Just don't spend it. Just don't. Let's with guys we got. This is who we're running it with. Sorry. People say I shouldn't go out and pay for players.
They would have talked trash had they signed another quarterback besides Cam Newton. But they brought back Cam Newton, and
They brought back Cam Newton for $5 million. And people are like, never going to win anything with Cam Newton. They're done. They'll finish dead last. Clay Travis. They're going to finish dead last in the AFC East. Because they gave Cam Newton $5 million?
Like, give me a break.
Come on.
Remember, the Jets are still in that
made more than $5 million last year. Come on.
Yeah, the Jets are still in the AFC East.
What fools.
What fools indeed, my friend. All right, let's get out of here. You guys take care of yourself, take care of each other, and hopefully all of your tickets cash this week. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review, and make sure to comment and tweet at us.